23rd of November, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua, Vayeitzei. Yes, I can.
Good. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're at the end of Pasuk Yud Tes. No, actually Pasuk, where was it? Yud Zayin. V'zeh shah shema. Manoira hamokem hazeh.
Yud Zion.
Yud Zayin.
Yud Zion. Okay, we read the pasuk, right?
Yeah, and we've done most of the Rashi. There was a very long Rashi there.
Right. So we're up to Manorah.
Correct.
How awesome. Targum Ma Dechi Lu Esra Ha Dain. The translation is, how awesome is this place?
Okay.
Dechilu Shem Davar Hu. The word Dechilu is a noun.
Yeah.
Kamo Such Lesanu. Such Lesanu. It's like the word Such Lesanu, which means understanding. Ukasu le milbash. And it's like the word kasu in clothes to wear.
Right.
So I'm sorry?
Yeah, so what Rashi's saying as follows, which is, normally when you say how awesome is this place, right, that means you're translating it as an adjective.
Right. I have a note that says that the word dechilu means awesomeness.
Okay, I translate it as awe. How great is the awe of this place?
Right.
Ma is not translated as what, as rather as how. Or how much. Noira, the awe of this place. How great is the awe of this place?
V'zeh sha'ar hashamayim. And
Okay.
this is the gate of the heavens. Mekom tefillah, meaning it's a place of prayer. La'alos tefillah sam hashamayma, for their prayers to ascend to heaven.
Yeah.
Umid rasho, and its homiletical explanation, Shebes Hamikdash Shalmala, that the temple on high, Mechuvan Keneged Beis Hamikdash Shalmata, it is aligned corresponding to the temple on the earth.
Right.
Temple below.
Yeah. Actually, on my way home now, I had a tape where the Rav there quoted a Shloh HaKodesh. The Shloh is the Shnei Luchos HaBris, so Bishaya Halevi Horowitz. He was one of the great Dolim of maybe 400 years ago, I think about. Anyway, he said a Meredi Kazakh that all tefillos, Zer Shar Shamayim, all tefillos said anywhere around the world are all channeled through the Malkam HaMikdash, and this, the only way they go up to heaven is through the channel of going through the Kodesh HaKadoshim, through the Holy of Holies, and up to heaven. This Zeh Shar Shamayim means this is the gateway to heaven. This is the way Tefillah goes up to Shamayim. And he says a tremendous thing, that we have a rule. We find that almost all the patriarchs and matriarchs were barren. They had to wait now some time to have children. Okay, we find Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak, both Avraham Avinu and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka. It's interesting. Yaakov himself was not considered barren. It's interesting as well. Avraham Avinu himself was also not considered barren either, because as soon as he married Hagar, he had children. Akoponim, but we find that the matriarchs were all Sarah was barren, Rivka was barren, Rachel and Leah. Well, Leah initially not, but Rachel was. So he says in Meredi Kazakh, we have a rule that why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara says this, that why the HaKadosh Baruch Hu make the others barren is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'aver litfiloson shel tzadikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu desires, not just desires, strongly desires, yearns for the tefillah of tzadikim. Meaning that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to encourage the Avos to pray as much as possible that they should have children. And therefore, that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give them children straight away, because he wanted to pray. He wanted them to pray in a very determined, yearning manner to be able to have children. But he says that only applies as long as they're in Eretz Yisrael, because tefillah in Eretz Yisrael has a tremendous effect. But tefillah in Chutz La'aretz, that has to go, should we say, is guided up to heaven through the Sar, through the ministering angel of each nation. And therefore, it doesn't have such a potent effect. In a way, should we say, even the Sar of that, the ministering angel of that nation, in a way taints the tefillah of anybody who, let's say, a person gives praise in America, let's say, so his tefillah only goes up to heaven through the Sar of America, through the ministering angel of America. So Mela, the potency of the tefillah is not as strong. And therefore, says the Shloh HaKodesh, I mean, I wouldn't be on the presumptuous to say this, but it says the Shloh HaKodesh, this rule that HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'aver litfiloson shel tzadikim does not apply in Chutz La'aretz. And therefore, that was Yaakov's complaint. We see later on in the Parsha, we're not going to get there, but that was Yaakov's complaint to Rachel. Rachel asked Yaakov, please daven for me, that I should have children. So Yaakov answered Rachel, here in Chutz La'aretz, it doesn't run by the same rules as it does in Eretz Yisrael. In Chutz La'aretz, it's not the rule that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mis'aver litfiloson shel tzadikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is yearning for the tefillas of tzadikim, because that only applies in Eretz Yisrael, not when they are in Chutz La'aretz. Therefore, it must be that the reason why you don't have children, and in a way Yaakov was bringing it right. Horaya, I didn't have a problem having children with Leah because we're in Chutz La'aretz. So therefore, there's this rule that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is yearning for the tefillas of tzaddikim only applies in Eretz Yisrael. But when we're in Chutz La'aretz, if we're deserving it, we will get it straight away. So Kaviyachal Yaakov was telling Rachel there must be some fault in your behavior or in your character, or whatever, that's preventing you from having children. And therefore you have to, he was exhorting Rachel to examine her ways and examine her character in order that she should prove her character that she should be merit to have children. Because it's not the mere fact that Kodesh Baruch Hu is yearning for your tefillas, because that doesn't apply in Chutz La'aretz. I mean, it takes some, shall we say, broad shoulders to be able to say such a thing, but this is what the Shloah HaKodesh says. Anyway, I call upon him. He wants to say, therefore, you cannot compare tefillas which are prayed in Eretz Yisrael to tefillas that are prayed in Chutz La'aretz. Okay.
There's something bothering me about the logic that you just used.
Why?
Because it doesn't apply to Abraham. Abraham also had a child from another woman. But
yes,
he was in Israel.
Correct.
So you said
so
because Yaakov had a child outside Eretz Israel, then that meant something. But it doesn't mean anything because the same thing happened to Abraham.
Yeah, but he only had it from Hagar. He didn't have it from Sarah.
Well, Yaakov only had it from Leah, not from Rachel.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you cannot compare Hagar to Leah. Hagar was a maidservant. And indeed, her child did not come out being the biggest tzaddik, whereas Leah's children were tzaddikim.
What does that have to do with the prayers of the righteous?
Sorry?
What does that have to do with the prayers of the righteous?
No, because I'm pointing out that Rachel came with a taina to Yaakov. He said, "Why don't you pray for me in the same way as Avraham prayed for Sarah to have children?" That was Rachel's taina. So that Yaakov answered, "You cannot compare, because when Avraham prayed for Sarah to have children, that was in Eretz Yisrael." Whereas you asking me in Chutz La'aretz to pray for you, it's not the same ballgame.
So what does that have to do with Yaakov having a child?
No, because we see that technically, just like Avram, in order to have a child from Sarah, he had to wait, I don't know how long, till Sarah was 90 years old and Avram was 100 years old. And most probably, I don't know how old Sarah was when they got married, but they've been married most probably at least 70 years.
It was a long time before that prayer was effective.
Right. Okay. And even after they came to Eretz Yisrael, Avraham Avinu was 75. So there was 25 years in Eretz Yisrael. Okay. But
15.
He's explaining
15.
that Avraham could pray for Sarah because there is this rule applies, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mis'ave letfilos shel tzadikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is yearning for the tefillos of the tzadikim. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted Avram and Sarah, both of them, to pray that Avram should have children from Sarah. He wanted to, in other words, Kaviyachal HaKadosh Baruch Hu stretched out Avram and Sarah to have them wait a long time because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to hear their tefillas. But that was only applicable in Eretz Yisrael. But Yaakov's saying to Rachel, you want to say that maybe I should daven for you, that you should have children the same way Abram davened for Sarah. But that rule that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mis'avel tfilasin shel tzadikim doesn't apply in Chutz La'aretz.
So what's wrong with her request? She says, I want you to pray. You're not praying. That's why I'm not having any children. What's wrong with that?
So he's saying that can't be the problem. Because since we're in Chutz La'aretz, the rule will not apply that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is seeking that you and I should pray as much as possible. Because in Chutz La'aretz, HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers a person's tefillas according to his deeds. It's not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will necessarily...
Well, he had a need to have a child.
Sorry?
He had a need to have a child with Rachel.
I understand, but he also had from Leah as well. So he's indicating to Rachel, there's something not wrong on that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to daven for you, because in that Chutz La'aretz that rule doesn't apply. Why you don't have children yet? That's a fault in your side, not on my side. Okay, I just said it over because to understand there is such a concept. It's a deep concept, and I don't want to go into it too much. But this is what the fact that Shloah Kodesh says. Now, the bigger point, what I wanted to point out is the tefillas prayed in Eretz Yisrael have a much stronger power than tefillas prayed in Chutz La'aretz. That is the point which I wanted to get at for this. Okay. Okay, let's go on to Pasuk. Actually, read Pasuk Yud Ches. I guess Lou finished off the Pasuk over here. So Meir, you want to read Pasuk Chof? Pasuk Yud Ches.
Yud Chet, okay, no problem. Yud Chet. Okay. Vayashkem Yaakov baboker, vayikach et ha'even asher sam merasho tav, vayasem ota matzeva vayitzchak shemen al Rosha. Okay, so what he awoke, I guess, baboker in the morning, and he took the stone that he put, I guess, around his head, by his head, and the
stone which he had placed at his head, he now set it up as a monument.
As a monument, okay.
I'm not sure the right word monument is the right word. Okay, I translate it as monument, but it means it's truth is the word monument means a single stone statue made up of one stone. And that's the Maaseh. It's interesting, the Chazal say that there's an Issa of making an altar is making a one stone altar.
Oh.
Because it's used for Avodah Zarah. You can see, but there's an Indian of things. So the monument, the word that comes from the word mono means one. Monument means one stone, I believe, or something like that.
Okay, but let's see. Vayitzok shemen al Rosha, and he poured oil on the top of it.
Right.
Okay, so that was what, 18?
No Rashi on that.
Okay, so Yud Tet. Vayikra et shem hamakom ahu Bethel, the ulam luz shem ha'ir l'rishona. Okay, so he called the name of the place, or this place, Beit El, Ulam. And perhaps,
Not
well, it can't be perhaps.
However,
However,
no,
Luz,
I tried to say, though,
although
originally the name of the town was Luz.
Luz. Oh, okay.
Now it's interesting, we mentioned this before in the Rashi yesterday. Rashi said this not, in fact, in the Gemara, this is not the same place where Avraham Avinu called Beisel, where he set up his tent in the beginning of Parshas Lech Lecha.
Right. Okay, so let's see. That was 19. There's no Rosh.
No, not 19. Now on 20 there is.
Okay, so let's go to 20. Vayidar Yaakov Neder Lemor. So Yaakov took a vow saying, Imihiyeh Elokim Imadi Ushmarani Baderech Hazeh Asher Nochi Holech V'natan Li Lechem Le'echol Uveged Lo Bosh. Okay, so Yaakov took a vow saying, if Hashem will be with me, and he will guard me on the path, on this path, which Anochi, I am going, and he will give me bread to eat and clothes to wear. Okay, so let's see, 20. It says, Imihiyeh Elokim imadi, if Hashem will be with me, Im yishmorli, if he will guard me.
If you keep for me, Havtochas Aloru, these promises.
Oh, okay. That's
So
how
you
you
go
know.
back, what is basically, go back to Pasuk 15. And right. I mean, initially, in Pasuk 13 and 14, Hashem promises him, he says, I'm going to give you the land. And your descendants are going to be like the dust of the earth. Right? All the nations of the earth, of the world, will be blessed through you. Now, then Pasuk 15 says, personal blessing to Yaakov himself. And this Kosh Baruch Hu promises him a number of things. Behold, I am going to be with you. Okay? And I will protect you wherever you go. And I'll bring you back to this land. For I will not forsake you until I have carried out that which I have promised regarding you. I was spoken regarding you. Okay, so it's basically four things. Kosh Baruch Hu mentioned it. I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to protect you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land, and I'm not going to forsake you. Okay, those four things. So Rashi is going to dwell, and this is what the four things which Yaakov is referring to over here.
Oh, okay.
In Yeh Elokim Imod.
Okay. So the next Rashi is Ushmarani, and he will.
So that's what Rashi says. You see, Rashi says, "Im yishmor li avtachas halalu." If he keeps to me these promises, shivtichani liyos imodi, that he promises to be with me. That's number one. K'mo yisham ali in Pasuk 15. Hinei anochi imach. Behold, I am going to be with you. Okay.
Okay.
Ushmorani.
Ushmarani, he will guard me. Kemosha Marley, as he told me, Ushmarticha b'chol asher telech. So I will guard you wherever you go. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have
V'nosan li lechem lechol.
Natan li lechem lechol. So I will give you,
He will give
he will
me,
give you bread. He will give
to
me,
me.
bread to eat. That's a weird construction.
Right? V'nosan lechem
Oh,
li
this is what,
lechem.
okay, I see. This is Yaakov speaking. Okay. Moshe Amar, as he said, Ki lo zavcha, I will not forsake you. The hamivakesh lechem, one that searches out for bread. Who karoi ne'ezav, is called forsaken. Oh, don't we say that in benching?
Shenema.
Yeah, Shenemar, this is it. Velora
Right.
tzadik ne'ezav. And I've not
V'zaro
forsaken
mevakesh lochem.
V'zaro v'kashlei. So I've not forsaken
So I've never,
the righteous.
the pasuk full pasuk, Naro yisi gamzo kanti. I've been young, I was young, and I'm now have aged. V'lo ra'isi tzadik ne'ezav. I've never seen a righteous person forsaken. V'zaro mevakesh lochem, nor his descendants seeking food.
bread. Very good. Wow. Now we
Okay.
know where it's from.
Right. What I want to say, okay, so it's slightly out of order because basically we've covered 3 of the 4 promises he made to him in Pasuk 15. V'nei anochi imach, it says, Im yeh elokim imodi. Ushmaticha b'chol asher teilech, ushmorani b'derech hazeh, asher ani hoilech. Now we jump. Ki lo ezevcha means I won't forsake you, means I'll give you food, is that v'nosani lechem lechol v'eged yubash. Okay, let's go on to Pasuk Chof Aleph. Lou. V'shavti.
I just want to ask a question about this prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of a prayer is this? He's saying, if you'll keep your promise that you promised me. What I mean,
But
of
what's
course he'll
gonna
keep his promise. What is he asking for? He's asking for nothing.
Okay, we'll see in a second. The punchline is really going to be in the next Pasuk Chof Aleph. This is really a punchline.
Okay. V'shavti v'shalom el beis avi v'haya Hashem li lelokim. Okay, so I will return, and I will return in peace to the house of my father, and Hashem will be for me for a God.
Right. Now, what does that last phrase mean? Hashem will be for me as God. Is that part of Hashem's, God's promise to Yaakov, or this is part of Yaakov's allegiance to God?
The latter.
So we'll see from Rashi, this is part of Hashem's promise to Yaakov. And then as Yaakov saying to him, just if you maybe in general terms understand what's going on here. Yaakov has spent the last 14 years in the yeshiva of Ava, Beis Ava. Okay, everybody says Shem V'Eva. It's not true because Shem was no longer alive. But anyway, it was the yeshiva, that same yeshiva which he'd originally, when he was young, he'd learned there, and then Shem was still alive. But now at this point, Shem was no longer alive. He spent 14 years. As far as Yaakov Avinu is concerned, as far as his own personal considerations were concerned, he was quite happy to just stay there continually. But his mother told him, you go and find yourself a wife in from my brother's children, from Laban's children, you go and find yourself a wife there. So that was the Yaakov Avinu's only consideration to go leave Eretz Yisrael and to go now to the house of Laban, which he realized he was going to be up against.
Remember Rabbi Levitt, Gemara.
Sorry,
I pushed the wrong button now. How do I turn this
Okay,
off?
we're good. Okay, Baruch Hashem.
okay.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Baruch Hashem for electricity.
Still hearing it.
Okay. I think I stopped it.
Okay.
Fine. As far as Yaakov Avinu's own personal considerations were concerned, he would be much happy to stay in Eretz Yisrael. The only thing which was forcing him to leave was his mother's request that he go and find himself a wife in the house of Laban. And Yaakov Avinu was well aware of what he was going to be up against, both spiritually and physically, how challenged he's going to have to be there, having to go to the house of Laban. Okay, so and now Akash Baruch appears to him in a dream. He says, "You go ahead." Akash Baruch says, "I'm going to be with you, and you go ahead to the house of Laban. I'm fully backing what your mother told you to do. I'm fully backing this. You go ahead and do that." So in a way, Yaakov Avinu is not quite, I don't use the word bargaining, but Yaakov Avinu is saying to Akash Baruch Hu, as far as I'm concerned, I'll be happy to stay here in Eretz Yisrael, sit in the yeshiva and be doing what I love doing, to learn Torah, not having to go and deal with Mr. Super Trickster, Mr. Super Bandit. What do I need it for? But Akash Baruch, if this is your request, I'm going to do it. And Akash Baruch, I ask you to fulfill all the promises you've promised to me. But moreover, and this is what he said, I want you to promise me, Akash Baruch Hu, that I'm going to remain spiritually intact, despite the fact I'm going to be up against this major challenge from Lavan. And if Akash Baruch Hu, if you fulfill my requests and I remain spiritually intact and I manage to come back, then Akash Baruch Hu, I'm going to do my bit. And that's Pasuk Chobes. Whatever Nazoi says, something Matzeba Yeh Beis Elikim, V'chol Asher Titen Li Yaseh Asenu Lach. So in a way, Yaakov is asking over and above all the things that Akash Baruch Hu, you've promised me, I want you to promise me something else. V'hoya Hashem li le'elokim. Right? That Hashem will be for me as God. You mean Akash Baruch Hu? Of course Akash Baruch Hu is God. What does that mean? So that's what Rashi says. I was going to say in a second. Rashi is going to say that I and my descendants should all be wholeheartedly with God. In other words, there should be no spiritual damage to us as a result of the fact that we've had to go through a certain amount of time in the house of love. Okay?
So I still have the question I asked before. You said it was going to be answered, but it's even stronger now. The 21 is the prayer. What's all this stuff in 20?
So why skip out? Why mention the whole thing of 20?
Yeah, I mean, it's 21 is he's saying, I want to get back to my father's house and I want to have a relationship with God. That sounds like a real prayer. But you'll give me bread and you'll keep your promise to me. That sounds like a foregone conclusion. Of course he'll keep his promise. Of course he'll give him bread. What's he going to do? Make him starve?
No, but it could be, and this is a thought which occurred to me now. You see later, Akash Baruch Hu promised him he's going to protect him. right? In the beginning of next week's Parshas Vayishlach, it says Yaakov Avinu was afraid. He prayed to Hashem, save me from Esau. What did he need to pray for? Kosh Baruch Hu promised him he's going to protect him.
Well, because he was afraid that he had made a mistake in the house of Lavan, and that.
Oh, so he knows he was not spiritually on the same level as he was when Kosh Baruch Hu originally promised him.
Right.
And therefore, now since his spiritual level had dropped, maybe he wasn't deserving of receiving the blessings. So as I'm saying the same thing over here. Kosh Baruch Hu, you've promised me all these various blessings, right? But it's only going to be applicable if I have the same adherence and allegiance to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, so let's see the Rashi over here. The Shavti.
Who was reading? I lost track. I was
Yeah,
reading.
you were reading, yes.
And I will return. Kamo Shamar Li, as he said to me, Vaha Shivo Sicha El Ha'adama, and I will return to the land.
I will bring you back to the land.
I will bring you back to the land. I will return you to the land.
Right.
B'shalom, in peace. Shalem min ha-chet. Whole from sin.
So this is what we just mentioned now. Shelo elmad midar kelova.
That I should not. He's anticipating. I see. In the other prayer, it's after the fact. Now it's before. Protect me from being influenced by Lavan.
Right.
V'haya. Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go. That's what he's
V'haya.
saying. That he's saying that, Kosh Baruch Hu, you're going to fulfill your promise to me that I will come back in peace to my father's house, which includes being in peace means even whole, undamaged and untainted from, despite having lived with Lavan for whatever amount of time. It ended up being 20 years. Okay?
And Hashem will be a God to me. Sheyachul Shemo Alai. That his name will rest upon me. Mitechila v'ad sof, from the beginning to the end. Shelo yimatzei pasul bizar'i. That no defect should be found in my offspring. Kamo shenamar, as it says, Asher dibarti loch, as I have spoken
For you. Regarding you.
V'havtacha lo, and this promise, hiv tiach le'Avraham, he promised to Avraham. Shneimar, as it says, li'os lecha le'Elokim ule'zaracha acharecha, to be a God to you and to your offspring after you. Zaracha miyuchas
Means your descendants of, how do I translate that?
It says here pedigreed.
Pedigree, yeah.
Pedigreed offspring. I'm not sure what that means. Shalo yimatzei bo shum pasul. That there should be no defect found in them.
Found among my descendants. Okay? Okay.
Right, so we're up to 22.
2, yeah. There's Hashem, and we'll